Good morning, TikTok Shop team. After reviewing some issues across the TikTok Shop's omnichannel system, I see that TikTok Shop is already highly effective at turning content and traffic into initial orders. However, the sellers still have limited tools to increase the basket's value, retain buyers, and generate the repeat purchases. As a result, the platform can create demand, but is not yet converting enough of that demand into the long-term seller value and repeat GMV. Therefore, the basic problem of TikTok Shop is the limited ability to create more value from those buyers after the first purchase. My recommendation is to solve this through three connected phases. In the briefing, I will explain to you what is the most important problem and why this solution should be these phases. You're already strong at bringing the buyers in. The sellers can generate the first order, but they struggle to increase that order and bring the buyer back. Sellers therefore pay for content, affiliate, advertising, and promotions to acquire the customer, but they have limited tools to encourage for a second purchase. This reduces the profitability and also encourages the seller to keep a second store on Shopee. This will move the future GMV away from TikTok Shop. There are three root causes of these problems. First, there is no unified customer data layer connecting the same buyer across the content interaction, sections, stores, and purchases. Second, there is no prediction layer. The third one is support is difficult to scale. I use the as the benchmark because it's the only platform in the comparison that reached this spring stage. TikTok Shop currently score 0.726 compared with about at 0.876, creating a total gap of 15%. The results show that four problems from the P0 group. They account for 63% of the total gap. This also forms the B1 and B2. About a limited omnichannel integration problem. This problem requires a special solution. TikTok Shop already scores 8.5, while Taobao scored 9.0. If you want to try closing this small funnel gap, this would require the high investment for just limited return. Therefore, I classify it as capability selling and recommend delaying it. This creates two main scenarios. The low investment scenario builds the foundation and uses the seller control rules to solve the P0. It closes 40% of the gap and leaves the score already above the spring threshold. The high investment scenario as prediction, an AI support agent, and the next priority tier. It closed 79% of the gap. The difference is 5.7 points. Based on this analysis, I recommend 5 connected actions. The first is a unified customer data foundation with identified solution, behavioral profiles, and consent management. TikTok Shop should build and own it because shopping behavior combined with the content view behavior is a unique platform asset. More importantly, this foundation unlocks most of the remaining 5.7 points improvement. The second is life cycle segmentation inside the seller center. Seller can group the buyers by prospect, first time, repeat, asterisk, and churn. This low cost because it reduces the foundation. It also keeps the analytics inside the TikTok Shop instead of pushing the seller toward to the third-party analytics tool like Fastmore or Calculator. Lifecycle match the message can create 2 to 3 times more revenue per recipient. The third recommendation is to let the sellers create relevant bundles and add-on offers at checkout. These 3 recommendations form the low investment scenario. Therefore, is predictive modeling for churn risk, customer lifetime value, and offer timing. This is the most expensive recommendation, but creates most of the difference between the scenarios. The fifth is an AI support agent using the full text context. It can make the tickets 12 or 24 times cheaper, resolving up to 85% of cases, and payback within 3 to 6 months. It also proves the support. This is the only stage where the digital shop ranks below the Shopee. There's one important trade-off. The predictive tools increase the switching costs because they work best inside the digital shop. This can retain the GMV, but the sellers may lose trust if they feel trapped by data rather than retained by value. Digital shops should therefore let the sellers export their own reports, giving up a small amount of login theoretic long-term trust. The roadmap follows the dependency between the capabilities. Phase 1 builds the data foundation. Phase 2 adds life cycle segmentation and rules-based recommendations. The last phase adds the predictive models and AI support agent. TikTok reached sprint in phase 2. The real decision is whether to continue into phase 3. To conclude, my recommendation is to start with phase 1, move directly into phase 2, and repair the phase 3 as the next strategic decision. This will protect the investment efficiency, strengthen the seller retention, and turn digital shop's content advantage into the strong platform advantage. And that's all of my recommendation. Thank you for listening.